Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi there, this is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. So Heather, what are we popping today?
We are doing a 2-for-1 today, Meg. We are going to pop open 2 oils that are very close to resembling each other. We're going to do Cassia and we're going to do Cinnamon. So we both have these bottles open in front of us. I want you to do kind of a back-to-back smell and tell me similarities or differences that you get.
So I think people know more about cinnamon than Cassia. Like cinnamon, we're used to cinnamon rolls and, different things like that. And they both smell cinnamony.
Agreed.
But Cassia, I like more, actually. Cassia smells sweeter. It actually smells like the cinnamon roll to me, whereas cinnamon smells just really strong, really spicy.
Agreed. I feel like Cassia smells like what you would envision potpourri with cinnamon in it to smell, because it's usually balanced with something else, versus the actual cinnamon bark oil smells like a full-on cinnamon stick in your nose.
Yeah. That's an unpleasant visual.
So both of these can be used all 3 ways. You can use it aromatically, which these are both great in diffuser recipes in the fall. You can use it topically. These are hot oils. So if you're going to apply topically, you want to make sure that you are diluting it with a carrier oil before applying it on your skin. And then you can use it internally. These are some of my favorites to put in coffee.
Yeah. So I have a funny story about using it topically. So when we first got oils, we enjoyed them. My husband specifically, he kind of bought in sooner than I did. And what he would do is he would take an oil, put a few drops in his hand, smell it, and then rub it all over his face. And so the very first one he did that with was lavender, and then promptly fell asleep on the couch,
I love it.
But every time he did it, I was like, I don't think that's how you apply them. But, whatever. It worked for him. So then we get Cassia, and he smelled Cassia. My husband has a big sweet tooth, smelled it, and he was like, oh my goodness, this smells amazing. This is what he called the snickerdoodle oil. So he was like, this smells just like snickerdoodles, which is some of his favorite cookies. He was so excited. So he opened the bottle, smelled it, and then put a few drops in his hand. And before I could say, don't put it on your face, he rubbed it all over his face and then promptly got really hot and miserable because it is a hot oil. So number 1, don't do that. But number 2, the way that we were able to bring down the heat. So if you were just to throw water on your face, that's not going to do anything because, water and oil don't mix. So what we did is we got coconut oil and literally just applied a ton of coconut oil all over his face. I don't think we even did the fractionated one. I'm pretty sure we did regular coconut oil. So it almost was like a mask.
You're just slathering it on.
Yes. And that's the only way you could get it off. So if you have the same way of experiencing oils that my husband used to, don't do that with either one of these oils.
Okay, so that's a good question. Has he stopped that method since that experience?
He is more cautious, but I feel like he still does it. I feel like I do see him do it more where he'll put it on his hands and then rub it on the back of his neck versus all over his face now. But yeah, he's definitely more conscious and learned his lesson from this one.
Does he prefer Cassia in a diffuser now instead?
He does. In fact, I feel like it is the oil that he diffuses the most often. So he has an oil diffuser in his home office, and every single day I feel like I go up there and it smells like Cassia. And Cassia is strong too. So even though it's a little diffuser in one room, and it's upstairs in our house, but I can smell it halfway up the stairs, and the whole upstairs smells like it. I don't know that he uses a lot of drops. It's just a powerful oil. And it smells great. So it smells like he's baking cookies up there every day.
Is he diffusing it by itself, or is he blended with something? Do you know?
He diffuses it by itself. But if he had diffused anything else, he's not real great at cleaning out the diffuser in between. So there might be some leftovers of other things, but he doesn't normally blend things. He just picks an oil and diffuses it.
Okay. Because like I said earlier, both of these are really good diffuser blends for fall recipes, whether it's with orange or clove. I feel like I really like kind of combining these with some other scents to make just a really good fall scent.
Yeah, me too. So of the two, what's your favorite?
I got Cassia first, and I can't quite remember why. It is a bigger bottle. It's a 15 ml versus the 5, and it is a cheaper price point. And so I don't know if my original thinking was similar enough, but get more for the cost. But then there was things over the last year or so that I'm like, I really want cinnamon for. So I've ended up getting both at this point. I think scent-wise, I still lean towards Cassia. I've used the cinnamon in smoothies quite often. I will do a scoop of the vanilla protein powder of doTERRA's and then almond milk, cinnamon bark, and almond butter. And it tastes like a snickerdoodle cookie.
I should totally tell Donald about that.
Except it's healthy. And so I will do that. The cinnamon is strong, even just with one drop. It's plenty in the smoothie. One drop in coffee is a lot in my mind, but that's what I do out of easiness. So I think I'm going Cassia for scent. I think I could probably use interchangeable for what I'm using them for health benefit wise. What about you?
Yeah. So Cassia is definitely my favorite as well for scent and probably just overall. I don't love eating cinnamon, which I know sounds strange, but I've never been a huge cinnamon fan in food, so I don't generally cook with it very much. I know as a kid I liked cinnamon rolls, but I also don't really eat foods like that. So it's been so long, I'm not really missing it. But in general, like I don't love cinnamon in my food, and like I feel like cinnamon ruins chocolate, even though I know that's a really common combo, stuff like that. So I don't know. Probably makes me weird, but I love the smell of Cassia. So
are you more of a diffuser user for these two scents anyways?
Yeah, 100%. Right.
I was just going to say, we were talking about some of the other benefits that go along with using these two. You came across a couple of interesting ones.
Yeah. So both of these, and this is one that I knew and have used and actually counsel people to use this for this. Both of these oils actually help a lot with blood sugar regulation. So if you struggle with blood sugar regulation, these are super powerful. And I think a lot of people have heard versions of this before, like, sprinkle some cinnamon in your coffee every day, because there's tons of studies out there that show the benefit of cinnamon. But if you're just sprinkling some regular cinnamon powder in your coffee every day, you're not getting the full health benefits. If you read through the PubMed studies, you need a lot of cinnamon to do that. So again, having the essential oil version is a concentrated form. And this actually, there are studies out there that show the essential oil of the cinnamon, or I assume Cassia as well, since it mentions it in the book, but it can truly impact your blood sugar levels and help balance it out so you don't have the extreme highs and extreme lows that people generally have. And at this point, I was just actually listening to a medical podcast, and they were talking about, I want to say right now the US is just under 50% of people have issues with blood sugar regulation.
Wow, that's a huge number.
Yeah, and it's getting worse. And so the interesting thing with that too is, so it's not necessarily people with diabetes, but once your blood sugar is dysregulated, if you don't address it, and the longer you don't address it, the more likely it is to turn into type 2 diabetes. And then the longer you have type 2 diabetes, which is 100% reversible, but the longer you have it, the harder it is to reverse. And so to have an oil that can help balance out your blood sugar before it ever gets that bad is kind of amazing. So definitely use it for that. Do you want to share another way to use it, or do you want me to just keep on going down the list?
Well, just a little bit on your point of talking about like how much powder cinnamon you would need to use to equal the oil. Another reason the oil is a little bit safer is inhaling straight cinnamon is not good for you at all. The powder, can go straight into the lungs and be super dangerous, versus I can hold this little bottle up nice and close to my nose and inhale and not risk anything and yet gain stuff. So, inhaling the oil is much safer as well than the powder too.
Yeah.
The books that I'm reading is the Essential Emotions book, and it talks a lot about how, and both of these overlap very similarly, where the negative emotions that you're trying to combat by using these oils aromatically is things like shame, embarrassment, insecurity, and this really helps overcome all of those things. It says it makes you feel confident, courageous, self-assured, body acceptance, healthy sexuality, intimate. So I think that these can be overlapped those ways, but I think that's probably something a lot of people, particularly women, struggle with. And so I think these are powerful oils that could be used to help people overcome that.
Yeah, yeah. And that kind of flows nicely into another thing that I'm seeing in these books. It's talking specifically about how this helps with sex drive. So both aromatically, so if you want to get all sexy, just put it in your diffuser. Maybe that's what my husband's doing at work. No, no. That's not what's going on there. But you could also create like a massage blend with this, and that would be really nice. Again, it is a hot oil, so you want to make sure that you are heavily diluting it. But just to like warm up the body, it would be an amazing and good smelling massage blend for that. Anything else, Heather?
No, I think these are fun oils to have on hand. I think the fact that you can use it all three ways and all three ways are really useful independently of each other. These are just, I like having these oils on hand.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, we hope that we have encouraged all of you to go out and open up your Cassia or Cinnamon and start using it. Share with us in our social media how you're using it, and if you maybe learned something new in what we shared today. Also wanted to remind you that we have a free class coming up. It's going to be on March 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And it's just a time where we're going to show up and hopefully connect with our listeners and community, answer any questions you might have about essential oils, maybe teach you something new you hadn't thought about before. But we hope you can join. If you're interested in joining this class, we have a registration link at thebottlepoppinpodcast.com, or you can use the link in our Instagram bio and register for that. And we look forward to actually talking with you, not just talking to each other. So definitely join us for that. All right, that's it, everybody. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.